Hey guys, okay, we're back. We're beginning week 4, and we're going to be talking about Max Weber. Um, First point about Weber, sorry about that glare on the whiteboard. I'm going to try to cover it up with my head a little bit. First point about Weber is that his name is pronounced Weber with a V sound, like it would be written Vaber. Maybe the most important thing you'll learn in this course, because you will absolutely look like you don't fit the part if you call him Weber. It's got to be Weber. He's German. All right, and Weber is going to be a really interesting character for us. Iconoclastic in comparison to both Marx and Durkheim. Again, he's the third of our big three, but more pessimistic than even Marx, more pessimistic than Durkheim, and he also really he considered himself a sociologist, but as you'll see in I think the next lecture, sociology doesn't exist for itself for Weber. Weber, and when I say iconoclastic, what I mean is he's going his own way. He looks at the world and says there's no such thing really as society. There's a bunch of people interacting, but there's no this great big invisible thing that I keep talking about. Weber's not into that. He sees a world in which people interact and events happen, and the only reason you would engage in sociology at all is in order to come up with concepts that help you understand the process of history. So he's going to be different than either, well, really than anybody that we're going to talk about this semester, but particularly right now, different than Marx or Durkheim. And the thing that I want to really get across most in this lecture is, it's going to be very short, is just how pessimistic the guy was. So, Marx is an angry guy. He's upset about alienation. People are not having fulfilling lives. And why? Because capitalism. You create a society based on capitalism, and it is going to alienate people. But there's a solution. It's not an easy solution. A revolution is not an easy thing to do, but there's a solution. Durkheim sees people as not being given the proper regulation in their lives in order to have fulfilling lives, to curb their passions. And the cause of it is simple. It's the division of labor. And Durkheim is, he doesn't think it's an easy thing to fix, because you're not going to go backwards from a division of labor, but you can create new social facts, organizations, or tinker with schooling in a certain way that will allow people to feel integrated. And also, once they are integrated, they will allow themselves to be regulated by it. Weber sees no hope. And this is a quote that I particularly love from Weber. He says, "Not summer's bloom lies ahead of us, but rather a polar night of icy darkness and hardness, no matter which group may triumph externally." I mean, there's no hope. And the reason there's no hope is because of, and this is one of my favorite concepts in sociology, the iron cage of rationalization. So Marx talks about alienation, and alienation's a lousy experience. And Durkheim talks about anomie. Again, not a pleasant experience. The iron cage of rationalization basically means we are trapped by our addiction to efficiency, both at an individual level. So, like, for me, sacrificing deep, meaningful experiences because I'm so addicted to getting the efficient, not as deep, not as meaningful, but kind of pleasurable in its own limited, surfacey way. I'm addicted to that, is what Weber would say. And we as a society are addicted to it. At the societal level, it manifests itself as bureaucracy, which nobody likes, and yet we just have tons of it. Bureaucracy doesn't exist 500 years ago. And now every organization, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I mean only a little. Every organization is bureaucratized, broken into offices with rules that that delineate how one office holder interacts with another office holder. And when I hold an office, it's like my job description is written down. I have very specific rules I need to follow. Weber says this idea of efficiency, the process of making things more efficient, he refers to as rationalization. He says, look, it is something we get hooked on. And once you're hooked on it, you can't go back. That's why he uses the metaphor of an iron cage. It is something that we're not going to escape from. Alienation's got a solution. You organize work in a different way. Anomie has a solution. You come up with a clearer set of moral dictates for a person to follow. How do we get out of efficiency? People love efficiency. Go try to do something less efficiently, and it's hard to do. You might be able to do it once, but next time you're pressed for time, it's really hard. And this is why Weber is so pessimistic. Once we have unleashed this idea and then process of organizing called rationalization, he says we're hooked and we're done. So that's ultimately, I'm foreshadowing the whole series of lectures on Weber, but that's ultimately him. He's thoroughly depressed. It's all about how we've gotten ourselves hooked to rationalization, and in order to understand it, we can't pick apart this thing called society, because there isn't a thing called society to him. It's just our interactions. So Weber found very little hope. I'll have later on, we'll have a couple of possibilities, but even those, at the end of those lectures, Weber is going to say, yeah, but it's probably not going to work. So buckle up. This will be fun. I will see you in the next lecture, where we will talk about his attitude toward sociology.